documenting the front lines of the AI revolution, the AI Rebels podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the AI Rebels podcast. We have a special episode today. It's just me and my good friend, co-host, Spencer. Hi, Spencer.
Thank you for the welcome, Jake.
Anytime.
Yeah, no, it's been
welcome.
a while since we did one of these. We used to do them a lot, but it's been a minute.
Yeah, we've been busy. Had too many guests to have on, but we wanted to get something in.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there's been a lot to talk about lately. Jake, has there been anything specific that you've been kind of gnawing on, thinking about dealing with AI before I jump into what I'm interested in?
Yeah, I think overall, it's just this incredible amazement that it's not slowing down. I keep thinking
seriously,
we'll hit a lull, and it's not happening. Which I think
it's like
comes from the unique nature of AI, that it's the first technology that is a self-improving technology. It's wild.
No, and it's I get worried about the people who don't see how fast it's progressing, because it's like you still go online and you still see people here and there like talking about AI as if it can't do anything, and I'm like, guys, you gotta listen. Something huge is coming. Just today there was I don't remember where he gave this interview, but the CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei, I think that's his name. Dario Amodei. I can't remember. Anyways, that guy. If he happens to listen to this episode, I apologize for butchering your name.
No shame. Yeah.
But anyways, he was talking about how, within the next 10 years, we're going to see like just massive shifts in work and the nature of work and, the types of work that we do. And almost nobody is talking about it.
Yeah.
Like at an institutional level, almost nobody is talking about it.
Which it's got to be just denial, right? Like people think that if they just don't acknowledge it, it's like, here's what it is. This is where a lot of people high up are. They are hiding under their covers, saying, "If I can't see the monster, it can't see me."
No, seriously though,
and it's no.
We need to confront this, like whether you're an optimist like us or a pessimist like others, like we gotta confront the realities of what's coming. And it's and I think that like there's a lot of people who kind of over-indexed on like the NFT stuff, and they're like, oh, anything new that comes out of tech, like it's just another NFT bubble. And it's like, guys, no,
so different. Yeah, just because you close your eyes doesn't get rid of reality. Like you gotta acknowledge it. Which we've been wanting to talk about VO3 because it's wild. The fabric of reality is shifting with this model.
No, seriously, like it's not long until we just have YouTube on tap, and then from there it's not much longer until we have Netflix on tap. And I think it has some really interesting implications, as I do with all AI tech, as we both do with all AI tech. But first, I'd be interested to hear from you, from your perspective. What do you think is like the most exciting thing about something like VO3, and what do you think is kind of the scariest?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, okay, let me start with a use case that for some reason I am so excited about with this potential. I think it could be so cool to take. Right now I'm reading the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. And the thought that I could I'm in book 4 right now. I could take book 4 after reading it and plug it into something and say like create like a Netflix series.
Create your own little
with his book. And it's like 8 episodes long, covers the whole book, and I could just plug it in and watch it. Like that would be so cool. You can do it with any book. You just plug it in and it'll do a comprehensive with sound. Anyway, so that is an exciting use case that I get super amped about. But one thing that I know is very unique with VO3, and I'm sure you can talk to like the technical difficulty on this a little bit more than I can, but its ability to sync sound, not only vocals, but background noise, background music, and layer all of this on top of each other to create, as I've researched it, what's so unique about this with AI is it's starting to touch on the vibe. It's starting to create vibe with these sounds. It's not just a physics thing. It's not just math.
No, exactly. Like, and it's, I don't know exactly how to explain everything that's going on with it either, right? There's been a number of videos that I've seen from friends that have genuinely made me laugh out loud. And I don't think that I've experienced that with any other AI generated art just yet. But like it was funny. And it was not only funny because of what my the dialogue that my friends supplied it with, and like the scene that it had, that my friends supplied it with to prompt it to being. But it was funny because of like choices that the model made, like in the way that it delivered lines, in the way that it, constructed the scene. Like there's like, I don't know, like you and I we've talked about this a lot, and I don't think we've talked about it in a while actually, but it's kind of spooky just seeing these little sparks of consciousness show up.
Yep.
And
you're like, well, that's brilliant. That take, the way you did the facial expression, layered the sound on top of it.
No, exactly. And for our AI pessimists, I'll admit that, it's probably 1 in 10 generations that gives me this feeling of like awe. But the fact that any of them are getting there at all is saying something.
And that's the same. If I had a content creator, it'd probably be less than that. They'd be cranking out stuff, and you'd be sifting through it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, that quickly touches on a soapbox that I wanted to get on for a little bit. I'm going to hurry and get on that soapbox. And I want to show you and our viewers some VO3 videos that I've generated.
Yes,
just, none of them are, super exciting, but it'd be fun to look at them. Anyways, I think that a lot of people, one of the disconnects, I think, in the way that people analyze, like, AI capabilities is that they, in their head, kind of overestimate human capabilities, right? It's like think about working with a team, right? You might run into 100 different wrong answers with the team before you find the right answer. But in retrospect, all you're really going to remember when you're analyzing that situation might be that you got it right?
Yeah.
And so you're measuring the AI's capability to get something right in just one go against your own ability to get it right after like an iterative thought process.
Yeah.
Anyways, just food for thought for people out there. Do some deep introspection on your own thought processes.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if we had a model that could crank out a viral video every single time, be like, the equivalent would be like finding the goose that lays the golden egg.
Literally though, like when that happens, as far as I'm concerned, that's super intelligence.
Yeah. Like it's beyond anything we could do, and we will be slave to it because we will just watch it all day long.
Exactly. We're gonna have AI Mr. Beast, and he's gonna
we'll be laughing all day.
While he, uses our brain power to build his solar arrays in space or whatever it is he's up to.
Yeah, exactly.
But on that note,
show us. Spencer couldn't stay away. He had to.
No, I couldn't. I tried so hard
for it.
I tried so hard, but my friends were having so much fun with it that I had to bite. All right, we're seeing this,
excited. Right? Yep.
All right, yeah. So as you can see, I've done a lot with it. I have found so far that it kind of does best with like dialogue and dialogue focused scenes. So for example, like this is something like a little bit more conceptual and like it's from the perspective of realism as far as AI video goes, it's incredible. But artistically there's not that much going on with it.
Crazy.
Then let me find a good example. Then like some of the stuff that you can start getting it to output is really, really cool. And I'm sure that I could do this with Blender and traditional CGI and all that, but I don't have time to learn all that traditional CGI and all that. So it's crazy that I can turn out something that is like, this is very close to the image that I had in my head, extremely close. And so the fact that we can even get it all close is kind of crazy. And then let me find some good examples of the dialogue.
So this is all off of a prompt.
Now remember that I'm not drinking Diet Coke because they're stupid woke meddling into Georgia election stuff. I am a Pepsi man from now on until I drop dead. I plan to live to 100. Nice try. I was
it every now and then it just delivers dialogue really well. Like I had a hard time getting it to smash all of those words into one video. It kept cutting off, and then finally it gave me like the perfect take where I was like, all right, this actor, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna speed through it. As you can see, I've been active.
Having some fun.
What's bappin'? What's bappin'? WH8TS bappin'.
I chose that one because if you watch the faces in the background, like, I mean, it's incredible that it can get the lip syncing pretty right. I mean, not only for the main character in the scene, but also all of the characters in the background too. Like that's an insane amount of consistency that we haven't seen from a model yet, in my opinion. I
mean, everything. Maybe the trees in the background, his sunglasses have reflections in them. Like,
oh, exactly. And
come on, that's
at first glance, like, there's not really anything in this video that gives away that it's AI. No, I'm sure that I can find something, you know. And you know, the way that he moves around has that particular AI look, but it's much more subtle than it used to be. Like, I think that people need to square with that reality. I think that it's ultimately a good thing, though. As with everything else that's going on, like, there's going to be problems that people run into, you know, and that we run into socially. A couple things. I think that a mitigating factor against, you know, like people have been able to make fake videos for a long time. You didn't need AI to make a convincing fake video. You didn't even need, you know, Photoshop or anything like that, right? You just need good old practical effects. And then and acting. And then secondly, I think that it has like a lot of and hear me out here, a lot of therapeutic potential. I've talked to a number of people now who have been using it to kind of like explore, you know, past traumas or embarrassments or you know, just
interesting
situations in their life, and as a way of kind of externalizing those emotions and situations, and to be able to, you know, kind of analyze them from afar, which I found really interesting as well. And I'll be fascinated to see if that's, you know, if that's just like an anecdotal thing. Like, you know, I'm friends with a lot of AI nerds, and you know, we enjoy the AI as a creative outlet, and so it's like, you know, it's like we find fulfillment there. Or if this is a real, you know, the start of something real, that like, for whatever reason, being able to depict all of your worst fears and traumas using AI video is a way to confront them. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah, that's a really interesting use case that I had not thought about, being able to write. I wonder if part of the therapeutic value there is because you have to write the prompt. You have to get it out. You have to get these feelings and whatever trauma, whatever it is, out onto the page, and then you see it come to life. But I think that writing is also a big part of it.
No, I agree. Yeah, because I'm sure that in the process of coming up with the prompt too, like it forces you to think about it even in a subtly different way than if you were just, you know, if you were just journaling your experience essentially, or writing a poem about it, right? Because it's like you're going from describing your internal state to like, how do I describe this situation to a machine in a way that it can reproduce the aspects of it that I want it to reproduce.
And I wonder if that practice of, because obviously, like we saw as you were scrolling through the videos you've created, like you iterate to get to the final product. I wonder if that practice of iterating, what comes to mind is when you go to the eye doctor and they say, is this one better or this one? This one better or this one? And you it slowly focuses in until you can see it clearly. I wonder if that's part of the therapeutic value there too, because you're iterating.
It's almost like
it's finally like, that's it. That's
no, I think that you've hit on something there where it's almost like kind of like a meditative process, right? Where you're going through like, because, you know, a lot of times with trauma, people experience is like it's not. It's kind of like a poorly defined problem space to them, right? Like it's hard to tell if you're traumatized. It's hard to tell to the extent that you're traumatized and to the extent that trauma informs your worldview, et cetera, right? And so I think that you're hitting on something there where like, this process of iteration is requires some meditation on your own thoughts and emotions and ultimately, trauma or whatever you have going on. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I like that.
Yeah, I think there are some really, really interesting use cases for this, especially where it's just prompt driven. Like you just you write it out and you see what it comes up with. On the flip side, it's terrifying. The thought of what someone could do with this to less informed groups, aka the majority of the population, like is terrifying. Like if I saw that video that you shared, what's bappin', on a YouTube short, I wouldn't question that for a second. And I
am
familiar with AI, past. Let alone if it was a news anchor announcing something, or an influencer saying do this, do that, and it is scary. It really is.
No, it is. And to bring it full circle back to the stuff that I was talking about earlier, like nobody's talking about this in the way like, I mean, you saw I'm sure that you saw was it Trump's Department of Justice? I can't remember. Anyway, some bureau in Trump's administration basically sent a letter out saying like, hey, don't regulate AI at all. Don't touch it sent that out to every state. And there's the ultimate AI optimist side of me that's like, yeah, full progress, right? Like excited about that. But then there's, the realist in me that's like, wait, hold on. Like, we're going to need some regulations to make sure that this technology works for us and works properly. So it's really concerning to see just a completely hands-off approach. Like, and I hope that we're able to find the right balance.
It's a little scary. I don't think they're right. I am all for less regulation.
Yeah.
But
especially
no regulation
in like an emerging field like this.
Yeah. Because you can't regulate on something that's changing this fast.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can do high level regulations, I think.
Yeah,
or at least be talking about it,
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to get to next. Is like I was going to say that, like, for example, like the recent deepfake bill that went out, I thought was really good. Because originally it was pretty broad, and I was like, that might get people in trouble who are just doing legitimate satire or whatever, right? But they narrowed it to like be very like specifically about revenge porn and AI generated porn of public figures and stuff like that. And I think that's exactly the type of thing that we need, right? Where it's like regulate the negative.
Obvious.
Yeah.
And like no one's gonna be like, no, that's a good thing.
Right, exactly. Like except for like the weirdo creeps. It's like, and you shouldn't care about the weirdo creeps.
Yeah, this will bring them out of the woodworks, and we'll get them anyway.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, the next thing that I was going to say is like, in absentia of efficient regulation, I think that there needs to be like, and I don't know exactly how you do this, but I think that there needs to start being some social norms around AI use, right? Where it's like. It's socially expected that when you post an AI video, you mark it as AI generated, right? Like, and I think that to some extent that already exists, but I think that, and I don't know how you formalize this at a social level without giving into kind of like the people who are prone to, trying to dogpile people online, right? It's a sticky problem.
Yeah.
And that's part of what's exciting and scary about AI is like it's forcing us to confront these questions in a deeper way than I think we would have otherwise. Like I think prior to AI, like the tendency of people to dogpile online, etc., you could easily just write off as like, like this is, just an inevitable aspect of being online. But I think with AI, like you got to start being a bit more thoughtful. And instilling more thoughtfulness into the populace.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It's going to make us eventually confront. It's nothing new. Like we're just confronting issues in society that have always been there, but now they just have the possibility of growing becoming mature and actually
right, exactly.
having a real widespread impact. Whereas before, like you said, it was, a lot of the big issues were kind of with the weirdos.
Easy to
sought them out. But it's going to be more and more available. Sweet.
So I'd be curious, since you're a church going man and I am not, what are I keep wanting to ask you this, and we haven't had a one-on-one episode for a while, so I haven't had the chance. What are the perspectives that you're seeing at church? And I think that Mormonism might be a little bit unique in the way that it kind of tends to embrace tech to some extent. I think more than other faiths do.
Yeah, I think I've been surprised.
Yeah.
Well, I guess first, it's like every other realm where the majority of people, it's not. I haven't heard people talk about it. That being said, I have had some really interesting conversations with people that, someone at this man at church who's studying at MIT, studying machine learning in depth, and like I didn't even know until I started talking to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm studying machine learning at MIT." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's
crazy time to be doing it."
Yeah. And then talking with, someone else who's in, he just got a PhD in biomechanical engineering, something like that, with an emphasis in like the use of AI in biotech and figuring out how to apply AI to these realms. And I think it is unique. Like you said, I think more I don't know if I can say more conservative. Mormonism is pretty conservative, but just like more technologically conservative religions, it's talked about even less. But I think overall, the trend I'm seeing is it's the same as everywhere else. I don't know if religion, from what I've seen, has had an impact, which is an interesting thought process. I'll have to kind of like stew on that a little more if it does. Because I could see that. I could see how religion could either, one, push you to use AI, or two, really scare you from using AI. Like I think it could go either way.
No, exactly, and that's why I was asking, because I've been interested because I am, if there aren't yet, I am positive that there's going to be a few people who are very anti-AI because they, because of like the classic, hyper religious objections to science, right? Of like, this is playing in God's domain and all that, right?
Yeah, right, right.
And I'll be really interested to see at what point does that kind of start, because that it's going to start happening for people. Maybe I'm wrong. It'll just be fascinating to see.
Yeah, I'll be really interested. That's an interesting question. I think we'll have to like circle back to it in a few months and see.
I think so too, because it's something that I only started thinking about recently, because that it'll affect religion in some way. Ideally, from for religion's sake, ideally, not too extensively.
Right.
But it's going to happen, and it'll be really interesting to see in what ways religion changes, and in what ways it doesn't.
Yeah, that'll be fascinating.
Yeah,
very interesting. Well, I think that's everything I had for the time being. I just really wanted to dig into VO3 and all the implications of it, and just excited about it. It's a really novel, cool application of AI. If anyone listening has good videos, send them in and we'll share them out.
Please do. I'm going to try and post some for our account too. I haven't decided what I'm going to make for our account yet, but I'm going to figure something out.
Oh, it'll be good. Keep your eyes out. Yep. Okay. Thanks, Spence. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
See ya.